So I know I've done this story before, but hey, it never hurts to bring back a classic. Like, it never hurts to, bring back something and dust it off as a remake. So, yes, this is Legend of Korra King Kong, or King Kong Legend of Korra, whatever. It's kind of in the vein of the Godzilla Avatar Last Airbender crossover I did not too long ago. So, yeah, I figured let's do let's do King Kong with Legend of Korra, because it actually it kind of works. Just hear me out for this version. Also, if you're wondering of which Kong we're using for this story, as to which Kong we'll be using for this crossover, think of it as his own Kong. This won't be as big. This Kong won't be as big as MonsterVerse Kong, but think of it as like a more, I would say, as big as the 2005 Peter Jackson Kong, but more looking like the Kong we saw in 1933. So think if you mixed 2005 with 1933 Kong, mix them together, roughly that height and kind of a mix of that. So anyway, with that all out of the way, let's get started. So the story begins. This is set after the events of Legend of Korra, and essentially what happens is that Varric has brought together the new gang to a matter that's been happening lately. That matter is that one of his tankers have gone missing after being caught in a storm a few weeks ago, and it's basically an island far off the coast of the Earth Kingdom. And Varric is like, hey, listen, that tanker carried a lot of valuable resources for the Earth Kingdom. Not to mention, it'd be kind of cool to go on an adventure. And Korra's like, I feel like there's more you're not telling us. I feel like you're not giving us the whole story. So spill it, Varric. What's going on? And he goes, all right, you got me. Yes, this is a rescue mission, but it's also a chance to, bring a new era of movers to the people of Republic City and to the four nations themselves. And they're like, fucking what? What could be so monumentous that could be more than a rescue mission? And he goes, that's the island that they have said to have crash landed on, that my crew is said to have crash landed on, is the legendary Skull Island. And they're like, Skull Island? What the hell is that? And they're like, well, I'll tell you. It's said to be an island untouched by spirits, where creatures have said to be, a more primal species, and among them is an ancient god who the natives of that land worship, as they would an avatar. And Korra's like, so that's what you're really after. You're not after a rescue mission, you're more after finding if this island is real or not, and basically, getting film of it. He's like, oh yeah, no, it's a rescue mission, and it's a mover, but also I want to see if there are resources for me to, put Varric Industries on the map for, could be cool, Varric Industries taking control of an island, employing, indigenous tribes into working for me. Yeah, it'd be pretty cool, right? And Korra's like, yeah, no, we're not doing all of that. We're just going to save your people, right? All right, we're just going to go and save save those people if we can find them, and then come back. We're not going to go fight monsters. We're not going to go enslave people. We're just going to this is a rescue mission. And he goes, fine, but you can't stop me from bringing the camera to record stuff. Bye! So Varric gets together a boat, and he gets together a ship and a crew of mercenaries from across the nations, firebenders, water and earthbenders as well. And they're all mercenaries. Of course, the gang goes to Korra, Asami, Bolin, Mako, Tenzin. He just gets dragged along because, Korra's like, it'd be really cool, just like old times, how we used to go adventures, just hanging out with my old master. It'd be pretty nice. And Tenzin's like, what time do I need to be on the boat? So they all go, and they head out into the unknown, and eventually, thanks to a map that Varric, was kind of hiding, Varric Varric is married to Julie, keep that in mind, so she's still with him. And even Julie is like, this kind of feels like a bad idea. And he's like, Julie, where's your sense of adventure? This could be a once-in-a-lifetime, offer. Plus, think of the revenue it could make for Republic City. You're the mayor of Republic City, and this could generate some serious cash if this all goes well. And she goes, we'll just stick to rescue right now, okay? Okay, honey? And he's like, of course. So they find their way to Skull Island, but they have to cross through a powerful storm in order to do that. And even with Korra, with all of her the might of the Avatar on their side, it still takes a lot out of her. Like, she is just wiped past trying to part that storm with it, even going into the Avatar state. She's like just wiped out, and she's just exhausted from it. So eventually they do get to Skull Island, and they do see like the island from afar, and they see this like huge wall in front of the island, just in front of this little peninsula. And they're like, so that's where the civilization is said to have lived. But what's on the other side of that wall? And Bolin's like, I'd rather not find out what's on the other side of that wall. Probably be, I don't know, giant monsters, or I don't know, giant monsters. So they all get on the island, and they do like sneak around while Varric is like has his mover out, and he's recording everything. He's filming everything he sees, until eventually they do find the Skull Island tribe. And the Skull Island tribe, like, they're in the middle of doing a sacrifice for their god Kong. And they're like, what is that name they're chanting? And Varric goes, oh, it sounds like Kong. Hey, I like that. Kong. Big name, nice name, and needs a second name too. Needs a second word in front of Kong. I don't know. We'll workshop that. Anyway, so the Skull Islanders do see them, and they freak out hard. Like, they are pissed off. And Korra contains the situation. She's just like, I'm the Avatar, but they don't know who the Avatar is, sadly. But they aren't benders. That's the thing, is that the Skull Islanders aren't benders. All they have is like sticks and spears, bows and arrows, things like that. And they see Asami, and they're like, we'll take that one. Like, we'll give you 10 of our women for that, for that one. And Korra's like, no, you're not having my girlfriend. That's not it. That's not how this is gonna work. We're leaving now. Bye. So Varric's like, hang on, guys, weren't we looking for my crew? Like, they could be still alive on the other side of the island. And they're like, yeah, we'll find them. We just gotta, we'll have to move the boat around to the backside of the island. We can't, I don't, those islanders, those tribesmen, don't seem very friendly, so we're not gonna... But Varric's like, you're the Avatar, and we have a bunch of, advanced benders and fighters here. We can just steamroll through them. And Korra's like, no, we're not doing that, because that, that's what old Korra would have done. But this Korra, the one who's learned through some shit, Korra's like, yeah, no, they're gonna view us as the enemy. That's their home. Like, that is their home, and we are trespassing on their home. Like, that's not fair. Like, they're just so yeah, we'd be seen as we'd be no better than Kuvira marching into an Earth Kingdom territory. But later that night, what already happens. Asami's kidnapped by the Skull Islanders, and Korra and the others have to go save her, but not before Varric, when the others are fighting their way through the Skull Islanders, they see Varric sees Asami being taken by Kong, and Varric's just like, and Korra, in a fit, goes full Avatar state and just tears down the wall, tears down the front gates. But Asami's already gone, and Varric was like, it was huge. It was so... I don't know what it was. So, meanwhile, Asami has been carried off by Kong into the deeper part of the island, while Korra and Varric lead everyone else into the island. So, two things happen, of course. Asami is taken by Kong, and more or less gets to know him throughout a bunch of a bunch of mishaps, like encountering kind of like a mix, like this version of Skull Island is kind of like a mix of the MonsterVerse Skull Island and the 2005 Skull Island. So they do encounter like creatures resembling V-Rexes and other creatures. But throughout this, on the other side, while some mercenaries get killed in Korra's team, they do discover that there is another tribe of Skull Islanders on there, and it's revealed that the Skull Islanders they saw on the peninsula in front of the gate, they found the island thousands of years ago and just kind of camped out there. Whereas this tribe is the real people. Like, the wall is to divide the two tribes, and this tribe knows Korra. And it's not just Korra, not just the Skull Islanders that are, the true Skull Islanders that are living there. Someone else is living among them too, and it's a very old Ty Lee. And she's like, small world! Look at you, I've been on this island for about 40 years. I thought I was going crazy. So Ty Lee explains to Korra and the others that Skull Island and the Avatar are connected. Essentially what it was, thousands of years ago, there was a... Skull Island was part of the Earth Kingdom, thousands of years ago, and the Kong actually existed on the Four Nations, like Kong's race. But the problem was, there was a threat that was forging on the island of Skull Island. And that threat was a monster named Ga. And Ga, in here, is kind of more like the Scar King, where Ga was amassing an army of monsters deep from inside the earth to lay siege to mankind. The Kong and the Avatar at the time, Avatar Yang Chen, Avatar Yang Chen and the Kong, the great apes, went to war with Ga, and the war lasted at least for 10 years. There was a 10-year war between the the people of the Four Nations and the great apes, and Ga and his monster army. Eventually, Yang Chen and Kong's grandfather defeated and killed Ga in combat, and the monsters were sealed away. However, the destruction that led also caused the little part of the Earth Kingdom to split away eons ago, ages ago, and the great apes were left on that island. So Yang Chen, the great apes accepted living on Skull Island because for them it was like hiding their existence from mankind, and also hiding the existence of the whole to the other kingdom, the Hollow Earth. So Yang Chen sealed away, used her powers to divide Skull Island from the rest of the island, and went on with her life from there. However, what was left of the great apes after the war were slowly died out over the next hundreds of years, until eventually all that's left now is Kong. He is the last of his kind. And Varric's already like, oh man, that'd make a great movie. Throw in a giant fire-breathing lizard and we got ourselves a blockbuster here. And of course, like, shut the fuck up, Varric. So, meanwhile, Asami does, she's getting closer to Kong, she's understanding him, but as they are, eventually Varric and the others do find Kong, and there would be a log scene if this was an actual thing. There would be a legit log scene, and most of the other cannon fodder dies, and all that's left is the main cast, who have to fight their way through massive bugs, while Korra alone goes after Asami. She finds her, she does battle with Kong until Asami calms Korra and Kong down from a fight. But however, what happens is that Varric shows up with the rest of the crew. They capture Kong, and against Korra's wishes, they bring him back to Republic City to call him King Kong, the 8th wonder of the world. So Kong, Asami's depressed, and, tells Korra, this isn't right. He doesn't, Kong doesn't belong here. He belongs on his island. He's the last of his kind. That needs to, he needs to be with his people, and he's the last protector of that monster, of that hole to the Hollow Earth. And if he's not there protecting the hole, there's no telling what could come out and find its way to the Four Nations. So they're trying to tell Varrick, but he's like, sorry, I gotta put on a show. So you probably know what happens next. Varrick puts on a show, Kong breaks loose, and now we have Kong in Republic City, fighting his way through the metal benders. He's fighting his way through all these different forces until eventually he finds Asami and scales up a building where planes are flying closer and closer. But instead of getting a chance to shoot Kong down, Korra shows up, she stops the planes, and spiritually reaches out to Kong to convince him to give up Asami and come back with her, and they'll take him back to Skull Island. So they do, and Kong is left in peace by the end of it. So there you go, guys. That is pretty much my King Kong Legend of Korra crossover. Hope you all enjoyed this. You guys let me know in the comments below. What did you guys think of it? Comment below, let me know. Other than that, hope you all enjoyed this. I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.